everyone. On behalf of the W4W Foundation, an initiative by a think tank built as a citizens collective, we welcome you to another session of Wednesdays for Water. In today's session, we continue our discussion from the last week on wildlife interaction with the wetlands and focus on Sangai Deer and Loktak Lake in Manipur. The iconic 247 square kilometers Loktak Lake is listed as a Ramsar wetland of international importance, cradled in the floodplains of Manipur River. The lake is 1.5 hours drive from Imphal and is famous for its unique floating islands, which is locally called Fumris, made up of soil, plants, and organic matter at various stages of decomposition, all naturally bundled together and beautifully looking, artificial land in the middle of lakes. One of the largest of these floating island meadows is the last natural refuge of the rare Sangai, also called the brow-antlered or the Indian dancing deer. A few years after Sangai was declared extinct in 1951, the Indian dancing deer was spotted in the largest floating island of the Kaibul Lamjau National Park. Pardon my pronunciation if I am pronouncing it wrong, but our speakers are going to make it correct. The national park is spread in an area of 40 square kilometers in the Bishnupur district and is now the house of Sangai. It is read in that the 1984 Loktak hydroelectric project had adverse impacts on the unique ecosystem, including the Sangai. The disappearance of several aquatic species reported since the inception of the project is still debated. The population of the migratory birds and the waterfowl have dwindled, and the Sangai, which is our topic of discussion today, is facing the greatest threat of all because of its only habitat is on the verge of being destroyed due to several anthropogenic activities that we fondly call as development. Without further ado, let me turn to our speakers to throw more light on the state of wildlife and more in the vicinity of the wetland, which is Loktak Lake. We have with us today Dr. Rajkumari Sunita Devi, Mr. Asni Kumar, and Dr. Rebika Soibam Chanu. So our first speaker today is my dear friend, Dr. Rajkumari Sunita Devi. She is an additional CEO for State Level Nodal Agency for Watershed, Manipur, for a nationwide project on PMKSY watershed component by the DOLR Government of India. She has a PhD in wetlands and remote sensing with a focus on Ramsar site of Manipur, which is Loktak itself. So she is Hubert Humphrey Fellow also, so my co-Fulbright Fellow from Cornell University. Her focus area is wetlands and climate change. So I turn to you, Rajkumari. Welcome all the speakers, but you being the first speaker, my question to you comes as, can you throw some more light on the life of the wetland itself and what it means for all the life species? And then we can turn more to the Sangai deer. Thank you all the speakers, and over to you, Sunita.
Thank you, Mansee. Well, it's my pleasure again to talk about the Loktak Lake. I've done a couple of times, but it's a never-ending process of sharing data or any kind of studies. So as such, it is situated in the southern side of Imphal Valley, and it is considered as a lifeline for the people of Manipur because of its various resources the lake gives to the people. We have even with us Sir Asni Kumar hailing himself from Loktak side. So as a resource, it has lots of vegetables, then fishes, and many kinds of other flora and fauna itself as a habitat. And again, considering its wetland importance, the lake supports a huge biodiversity. And again, with the Kaibul Lamjau National Park on the southeastern side of the lake, covering an area of 40 square kilometers, it supports the, like you mentioned, the brow-antlered deer, the Cervus LDLD, the Sangai. It's a state animal of Manipur. So during my studies, we have studied about the spread of water for the wetland itself. And again, we did a couple of studies getting from 1995, 2000, 2005, studying the dynamic of the wetland. So more or less, the area isn't that much, changing in the sense because we have a barriers, high barriers. So the water is a little stagnant. So we don't see much changes in the size of the wetland, because the dam itself or the barrage itself is constantly kept at a height of 767. So coming to that, we have a number of anthropogenic activities going on in the lake. Then again, with climate change and other environmental degradation happening in and around the lake, the dynamic has really changed now, not like before, because we have the 32 streams flowing inside this wetland, and the most important one is the Nambul River, which flows directly into the lake. So this Nambul Lake, it carries a lot of pollutants, which flows through the major Imphal city, so carrying lots of pollutant loads in the river and directly draining into the Loktak Lake. So this has again coupled the enhanced the problem of eutrophication in the lake, and again proliferation of more vegetations, more weeds, and also now coming to again the scenario of how actually the wetland looks like. We overall it has 254 square kilometer, but right now I think Sir Ashini will have the core zone as identified by the government of Manipur, by the Loktak Wetland Act. So they have maintained a core zone and a buffer zone. So the exact, I think, figure, he will be the right person to give the figure. So till now, things are going on, still, clashes between the habitat of the Loktak and again with the government, and again among various, fishermen groups, or the presence of this Fumdi, the floating biomass, which we call, which is a, a passive vegetation along with soil debris and silt. And so these are some of the issues. And again, we have other scenario like whether that homestay inside right now, as a tourism aspect, many homestay mushrooming inside the lake, and the government's decision to take some of those out. So coming into like when we talk about these issues, or again challenges we face as a scientist, as a policymaker, or as a research group. So it offers lots of different multiple challenges, and again if we take from a research point of view, the science of this wetland it's terrific. It's terrific in the sense it acts as the kidney of the whole of the state by juxtaposition of its position. We can say the Loktak is the kidney of Manipur. The 32 streams feed the lakes, and there is one channel which takes out the water from the lake. So more and more the water budget is naturally balanced. But then again, the construction of this Ithai barrage at the southern tip, it's another issue, which time and again many groups saying it is degrading the lake, and again some saying that it has sort of make the water constant, which as a resource, as a water resource, we still have a huge water resource among with us. So this kind of this two vis-a-vis attack and at the same time defense, this two mechanism is going on. And again the morphometry of the lake, we also have a very important 6 island in the lake itself: the Thanga, the Ithing, the Papot, the Karang, Toya, and Chingmai. So they have a total of about 220 square kilometer. 220 hectare. So that will be about 20 square kilometer. But there's a lot of population pressure for the inhabitants inside this island. So the population pressure is really high in these islands, and again this is having an adverse effect on the Loktak wetland. And again, these islands are also situated near the Kaibul Lamjau, which we have our topic of discussion of the Sangai Deer. So again, we need to have more studies whether this has direct impact on the Sangai deer or in the habitat of the Sangai deer, the Kaibul Lamja. So all this kind of intricate issues or challenges we face in the Loktak Lake. And again, for the but I can say that a lot of study have been done for the lake, the bathymetric survey conducted by the LDA, then a simulation modeling which I have done for the the Ithai barriers, like a modeling where we kept the level of the water at 768, 767, and 766. So that's how we study three, three period of time when the lake was in its original form, maintaining at level at 766. Again, when they commenced the Ithai barriers at and maintaining the water level at 768. So many lands were submerged, many paddy field, good paddy field were submerged, and the extent of inundation reached very far and wide. So there is hue and cry that the barriers should be taken out. So likewise, it still persists and it's still going on, like how the policymaker will turn on. So right now we have LDA, the Loktak Development Authority, conducting very scientific studies wherein they are, outreach with many scientists of IIT professors and other institute like TERI and other institutes. So hopefully with the new things in place, new results will come out. But as such, the water is still, mentioned at 254 by remote sensing studies done for 2007, and more or less it's more or less the same now for the latest study we did for 2011, 2015. Because like I said before, the height of the dam has maintained the water level at 1 point. So only the inundation has spread out, but again, more or less it remains the same throughout the year. And again, if we talk about, another studies on the open water regime, we have the clear water about not much. Clear water, you can only say that about only 30%, 20 to 30% of the wetland, we have clear water. And again, we have the presence of those foam rings. So in the study in 2007, the number have reached up to 7,000, more than 7,000 foam rings. As such, a study conducted for 1989, the foam was about 2,000. So within the span of 10 years, it has increased double, triple fold. So again, this, what we call the foam rings or the atha foams, these are for fishing purposes inside the lake. They use this to drop the net using this vegetation debris. So it has really, increased in 3-4 times, which is again, having a negative impact on the wetland. But in 2013, there was a huge cleanup of the wetland where they took out most of this atha foam. Again, there was another, with the government thing that it should be taken out or it should retain. But as such, a balance was brought where they took out at least 50% of those from these, because this is also another integrate, part of the lake wherein the fishes of the wetland, it requires for their life cycle of the fish, where they bear the eggs and everything inside this. So likewise, we have, open water about 26 square kilometer, and about the foam, which we, in the study we did about dense foam, then moderate foam and sparse foam. The sparse foam means about less than 1 feet of the vegetation floating on the wetland, and again moderate foam. So a couple of studies has been done, and we have the foam ring, number of foam ring, then again how much of the lake has been encroached for aquaponds, because now we said that due to the inundation of the paddy field by the building of this barrage, that it has turned into water reserve, from land to water, paddy to water. But again, this water has again been, constructed into aquaponds, wherein the shoreline or the wetland being encroached upon day by day. So right now the picture is not so good. That encroachment is really, at least half of the lake is being encroached. But unlike unlike the other wetland in West Bengal or like the deeper bill in Assam, we don't see much structures, big structures. The land hasn't been converted into big structure. Likewise, where Guwahati, you can say that half the town is built on top of this deeper build, and even West Bengal, how much area, even though it's a Ramsar site. So unlike that, as such, Manipur, the wetland, the Loktak Lake does not have any huge structure like that. The only problem we have is, the fishing community, the intensity of the fishing becoming more, then population pressure in this 6th island, where the habitat or like the human settlement, they don't have any area now. So it is really tough being, the land of the forefathers, the Thanga, the residing in the Thanga area. So these are some of the scenes you can see, like the island dweller, the fishing community in the shoreline of this big wetland, then the wetland vegetation, the pumdis, the Sangai deer in the floating 40 square kilometer of Kaibul Lamjau. Then again, the pressure from the, government for new projects, huge multi-million dollar projects coming. So this is how the lake is right now. And again, the depth of the lake, it has really, it has become very shallow now. You can almost walk and run in the lake. But again, the dredging of the wetland, that again becomes, taking into account climate change, where we as a, climate change scientist said, we don't encourage big machineries inside the lake, or to do it slowly. But again, at what stage the lake is, it requires that some of these things should be dredged. So these are all pros and cons going on inside the lake now, because the habitation inside the lake asking that this should be taken out, and only dredging is the only method left which we can use. And again, emission of methane by dredging of this wetland. So as a climate change scientist, we are apprehensive that the intensity of methane emission will be really high using this heavy equipments inside the wetlands. But so those, like Sir Ashni being with us, these are some of the facts that as a scientist I keep on this today's like session. And so that's how it is. That's how it is as a wetland scientist. Our job is to provide authentic data using high resolution satellite imageries. So we have all this data ready with us, ready to share with any students or any policy or decision making people. So that's how it is. And coming to the Kaibul Lamjau National Park, which is in the like the southeastern corner of the Loktak. I think Rebika will also do justice talking about this lake, and again, Sir Ashni will have his own opinion how the scenario within the changing of time, because he being hailing himself from that area, the Kaibul Lamjau side. So that's how the scenery is right now for the Loktak Lake. We have all those vegetation, but degradation is really happening. It's really happening. There's been heavily degraded. Many of our biodiversity lost, like both in flora and fauna. So flora-wise, fauna also, many fish species have extinct or almost lost, almost gone. And again, coming to the biodiversity, even though not during our parents or our grandparents' time, during my lifetime, I have seen more than 10, 20, vegetation or eatable plants being totally gone from the lake. So that's how the lake itself is right now. So and I could also give my opinion that, like talking about wetlands and Loktak as such in this present time is not happening much, unlike 10 years ago. 10 years ago, because LDA doesn't seem to be doing much on, awareness or prioritization or new workshops or training. We don't see much happening from the LDA side in the recent years, unlike 10 years or 15 years ago when there was a Canadian project going on with visa. So after the project finished, more or less, we don't hear much about the lake except for some controversies with the government and with the people. So I think that very much give you a scenario of how the lake is.
Thank you, Sunita. Thanks for giving the overview of the situation. We can take these important bullet points from you, especially talking about the delineation as an important thing, and wetland being the kidney of the entire state. So it's not about only the deer alone, but also about the overall habitation. And looking at Fumlis, it looks very beautiful for people like us as seen from distance, but also learning the concerns, what it means, because a water body lost is a land gain. And I think Asni Kumar sir can be more, focused on discussing on these parts about the administrative side of taking care of the wetland and what it means to enrich the biodiversity of the area. But it is also interesting to learn from you that, we actually require more conversation if we want to do conservation. And that's the very purpose of Wednesdays for Water, why we do these things, that we need to have a place or a platform where these conversations continue to happen. And these conversations should not be dependent on the fundings. So let me just move on to our next speaker, Asni Kumarji. He is currently the chairman of the Loktak Development Authority, Government of Manipur, which is a rank of Minister of State. He's a very vocal environmental activist and a columnist on environment, forest, wildlife, and wetland. He's the former Secretary General of Environmental, Social Reformation and Sangai Protection Forum. He is also the former Honorary Wildlife Warden of Bisnupur District and former Member State Level Expert Committee on the Kaibul Lamjao National Park and Loktak Lake. So you can imagine why he is here, and we are very grateful to have him around. Presently, he is also the Member State Board of Wildlife and Member Public Grievance Committee of the State Wetland Authority and a life member of the INTACT New Delhi. He has also been very crucial in re-engineering of the National Environment Policy 2004 of the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, and also been in many, many expert committees. If I start listing them, we will miss out talking about the Loktak and the Sangai Deer. So, sir, you heard Sunita ji, and I reach out to you more to understand the administrative side of it, looking at how wetland and wildlife can be balanced. I am very much aware that your role is more on the wetland conservation, but I am also aware that you have had serious roles playing in the past, and also being an ardent environmentalist, you are equally concerned about the biodiversity. So, sir, we are very keen to hear from you. Over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, all listening members of the Wednesdays.for.Water group. Our today's this focus or topic is a wildlife and wetland and Sangai Deer Loktak Lake. My colleague, Dr. Sunita, spoke very well about the Loktak Lakes and Kavilam Zone National Park in Sangai. Overall, the scenario of the political status of the deer and what treasure Loktak Lake. So I passionately hear education. So many points she expressed very well and well spoken, and noted it. I'd like to share my view on the present, past and present and future challenges for conservation and management of this Loktak Lake, one of the important wetland site on the north, and it's Western Park, which is part of the Loktak Lake Wetlands. And only habitat of our species is Sangai. So I'd like to highlight the area of the Loktak Lake before commission of the Loktak Hydel project. It was in the rainy season 250 square kilometers in the winter. In the peak season, in the rainy season, it spread around 500 square kilometers. As part of scientific reports which we have. But due to time changing and developments, or maybe at the policy level, commission of the Loktak project. The project report was started in 1967 by the state PWD department. Actually, that time, overall in our country also, they was not aware about, not considering about the impact of the environment and the social impact of the whole kind of this Hydel project. So I always call this Loktak Hydel project as a blind project. Commissioned in 1983, and its main problem is construction of this one copper dam or part of this as part of this project along the Manipur rivers, which completely blocked the water regimes of the western cycle of the water regime of the Loktak Lake. So its adverse effect to the ecological cycle of the lake as well as to the social and economic impact were taken on the lake. So since my young days, I've been actively involving and lobbying for the leaving this Loktak project, even though we demand for decommission of the project. And we started, I actively involved in the this, protection and conservation of Sangai Deer and the protection of so many young activities as well as some of our senior people who are already working in the field, who are also experts like Dr. Ranjan, then Professor Istombi, then Vice Chancellor of the University. All these are almost like our mentors and guides. At the field, we are working very hard. I am one of the very few people who work at the grassroots level at the lake side, working with the elders and local communities. So in till 1990, even the forest officers, the staffs were not able to visit in and around the National Park protectivity. A lot of resistance from the local communities. Slowly, after I myself took an initiative to convince the villagers about the importance of this deer endangered species Sangai and this biodiversity and ecosystem and slowly then we form a platform is called the Environmental Social Information Person is keeping participating described up and around the national park and Loktak Lake. So on that platform we started a lot of initiatives, and which also ultimately we succeeded a lot also. We are hand in hand with the holding with the state department, forest department, wildlife and other government agencies. So unfortunately, status of the ecological status of the Loktak Lake and the prevalence of national park is adversely affected on the negative side because of there are multiple reasons are there, but main problem is Loktak Hydel project. At the same time, even the authority concerned also not properly taken up any kind of scientific measures in timely. So even today, as per my fair opinion, is already late because the condition of the Loktak Lake itself and the National Park is now deteriorating. And this is a very alarming situation now. So personally, Wildlife Institute of India has taken up some long-term research project and they are coming up with some management action plan for I do appreciate it. But even though after I thoroughly examined the report, there are a lot of those that already shared these issues, this point with the status of the Wildlife Institute of India. So they are also very positive. They will come down to install this within this month and will sit down with me and will share my points. Which need to be taken some certain points. So, but Loktak Lake, Kevalamjau is very much core part of the Loktak Lake. So if Loktak Lake is the decline, so it efforts also is understand. So there should be some integrated and holistic approach. So it is a need of the hour. That's why I already talked to the highest level, at the level of Union government, at the level of state government, at the level of Honorable Chief Minister and Honorable Governor about the present alarming situation, ecological status of the overall of the situation of Loktak Lake. So with my initiative and with the kind support of the state leadership, we already formed a committee. It's called Environmental Expert Advisory Committee. It's merely to study the root cause for declining the ecological status and ecosystem of the ecological cycle of Loktak Lake, including Kerala. So it's headed by one professor, one very renowned professor, Professor Rajiv Sinha from IIT Kanpur. He's a leading committee. And there are other prominent professors and subject experts are there. So this committee also already been started study at the ground level. As well, we've collected a lot of data and the feedback from scientific communities, from the institutes, from the universities and other departments. And we also visited at the site for 5 days completely. So they are analyzing all the data and processing also. So this is another part. So this committee also will be very much helpful to improve, to find out the solution for improvement of the overall ecological status of Loktak Lake and Tribal National Park. So the problem is now Loktak Lake is almost like 2006. The state government passed one act in the assembly. Legislation called Loktak Protection Act. Before 2006, the state government they already assessed the physical condition and area of the lake. So as per notification, it found only 230.21 square kilometer, which is notified, including core zone and buffer. The zone is 70.30 and buffer zone is 160.91 square kilometer, including this area. So these are on the record. But as per my opinion, after physically assessed personally, so I am doubtful of these areas. But even the size of the lake is already been decreased due to the enforcement and so many human activities. So the bearing capacity of the lake also, I think this is now says the bionic capacity, the capacity because of the overgrowth of the populations and human developments and urbanizations. And as per my assessment, there are 36 streams and channels are flowing to the lake. So huge sediments and pollutants, human waste are carrying and flowing inside the lake without any proper treatment. This is very dangerous. Apart from that, the Loktak Lake is in the midst of the Manipur Valley. So it's surrounded by all the agricultural lands in Manipur Valley, with uncontrolled use of chemical fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, all this drainage system within an hour or within maybe half an hour is all flowing to the inside the lake. And earlier, before commission of the Loktak Hydel project, the Loktak Lake have their Loktak Lake itself has owned this natural system for this natural water regime which is going towards the Manipur river. Lesson flow is there, but the commission of the cabinet is also stopped now. After commission of the Loktak Hydel project and the construction with commission with High Copper Dam on the Manipur river, Loktak is becoming a permanent septic tank which doesn't have any outlet for Manipur Valley. So, as per my assessment, as per this report in the LD office, the total sediments, sedimentation, this depositing in the lake per annum is 65 lakhs metric tons per annum. This record is just before five years back, but now we are going to update now. And So these are just example. And apart from the, in the present trend, most dangerous is especially the non-degradable this solid waste, human waste like plastics and urban waste, and so many these non-degradable items. The waste are flowing inside the lake from all these channels. So it's very dangerous. And earlier, Loktak is very much famous because of this unique ecosystem. Loktak maintained itself naturally without even much support from the human from the government or any agency. Loktak was very healthy, ecologically, naturally. But after commission of the Loktak, for the complete character of the environmental character, the ecosystem of the lake is still affected. And even the Pundi is called a floating biomass, which is very much significant for the Loktak Lake. It's very peculiar compared to other wetlands on the earth. But for Loktak Lake, we have the floating biomass Pundis, which is very healthy, and naturally Pundi also maintain the total, as per my assessment from the village elders, the dwellers of the lake, the 40% of the lake area were covered by the Pundi, 60% of the water body before 3 decades, before 4 decades. But now the purification of Pundi also very fast. Even the state government is very difficult to clean this Pundi also. Huge expenditure, lot of difficulties, huge resources are required. But the purification of Pundi is increasing day by day, because as per it's not scientifically, but as per the record, the state veterinary department, they had introduced one called is paragrass in early IT for dairy purpose in Portugal. That is connected to one stream to one Kumbadi and all to the Loktak. So it's flowing to the Loktak, this species of the paragrass. Now paragrass is spreading like anything. It's wide. So paragrass is very much help for the promotion of the Pundis. Where the Pundi the present condition of the Pundi is very thin, and earlier Pundi was very healthy, and there are a lot of soils inside the Pundis. But now the percentage soil contents inside the Pundi is very less. That's why so many the vegetations, the vegetables and grasses are very much different before in comparison to earlier before 30 years. Even in Kavilumdam National Park, the habitat, the 40 square kilometer, this floating biomass now is disintegrated very fast. And when I was childhood, because I have been born in Kavilumdam, it's only 340 meters from the boundary. So during our childhood, we used to play the footballs inside the national park. We used to see even buffaloes are walking on the biomass of Kavilumdam National Park. We physically see it personally. So but now, don't forget about the buffalo. Even Sangai are difficult to walk on the present this biomass of the Kavilumdam National Park. This is the condition. And a lot of changes are there. Even during our childhood time, in winter, starting from September last week, there are thousands and thousands of migratory birds we spotted inside the different part of the national park. But now very less. Even I think it's reduced almost 80%. So all the Siberian birds are coming, and this was the best habitat for all countries. This migratory birds. So all these things is a changing trend of the ecological cycle as well as the biodiversity and all this. But the problem is Loktak cannot be saved. Loktak cannot be saved. Loktak is a complex wetland. Loktak is the main wetland, but it's closely associated with the other 3-4 wetlands like Pumlen, Koidum, Loksi, Kharum, and Iko. So this already given the mandate to the LDA, Loktak Development Authority, for management and conservation of this wetland also. But after I taking over the charge of the chairman of the LDA, I started visiting all these wetlands more than 3-4 rounds. I interact with the local communities, the dwellers, I interact with the local elected representatives and the administration this administration and other interrelated departments. But very unfortunately, all these 3-4 wetlands also almost decline and already been almost 70%, 80% already been encroached. And almost wetland is almost 90%, 95% gone. So huge challenge. So but I feel so happy that Honorable Chief Minister is fully supporting me about this conservation mission. He assured me that he will extend full support with the commitment that this wetland has to be conserved and it has to be protected. So that's why we already formed a committee with the approval of the Honorable Chief Minister for identification of all the encroachers and illegal occupants. So we are trying to, we already started from Loktak Lake, but other wetlands also where we have a plan. We will have a detailed discussion very soon. At the same time, Local Development Authority also trying to assess scientifically the data and all the changing trends in the ecology of the lake and biodiversity. So we already strengthened our Local Development Authority's laboratory, and we will be empowered the laboratory also, and we will upgrade it very soon. And we will use the best modern technology to conserve and protect these wetlands. This is our mandate. And now, Development Authority earlier, before some years back, the dwellers of the lake, the local community thought that this local development authority is like Satan for the community. So now I change the mandate, and because without community participation, without the cooperation of the community and dwellers of the wetland, we cannot achieve anything about our wetland conservation mission. So I already convinced our political leadership also to take along all the communities with in our conservation mission, and there should be some it should be like joint venture or like collective movement for this conservation mission. So I'm very lucky that I already interact 3-4 rounds with all the local elected members like honorable MLAs and ministers and local elected representatives, Jilla Parishad members, and some of the pradhans and all the they all cooperative now. And now everybody is almost like convinced or cooperate and extend all their in our conservation mission. And Honorable Chief Minister and our State Chief Secretary, and along with the LDA, we are also trying to engage one of the best experts, technical experts on the wetlands to design and draw a master plan for 100 years for conservation of Loktak and its associated wetlands. So, Asian Development Bank is already been roped in, and they are very keenness for extending all kind of support, technology, know-how, as well as for resources. Like one of the very renowned wetland experts from South Asia, who already been made success story for Chalka Lake Conservation Mission, a success story, who is a wetland awardee. I think he is leading this technical field. He already visited us in the state, and I had interaction with him also in 2-3 occasions. So I hope our conservation mission will be success with proper integrated wise use plan, master plan, and it may take maybe 1 year or maybe a little bit more. Once this plan is finalized, I think we can able to conserve these wetlands of wetland. This is my view. And we also already identified all the cultural importance of these wetlands, and we're trying to form one committee with the guidance of Honorable Chief Minister to identify all our cultural ethos, close associated with all these wetlands, so that we can make a plan for promoting the culture also, which is associated with the wetlands, so that the community have a emotional attachment with our conservation mission. So this is our planning. At the same time, we are also trying to form one system and welfare policy with special focus to the Loktak Lake and other this homeland and crops, because lots of population are dependent on these wetlands for their livelihood. So we should be integrated across. So these are the planning. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Asni sir. You really gave an overall overview and very few key points for me to take up. And I will be very keen to discuss with you. Dam the dam is already a discussion going on in Manipur, or we are still holding that discussion because around the world the de-damming has already started. But you rightly mentioned about the point that Loktak is not the only lake which needs to be saved, because to save Loktak, we need to save the other wetlands because they are feeding into the Loktak, you know. So that's a very important discussion I would like to take further from you. But you also made a very important point.
With your confirmation, 1 minute, please.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Question, important point. Loktak Hydel project. This is very much directly affecting to the Kamlungdong National Park. It is a proof that the Chief Wildlife Warden of Government of Manipur has written a very strong letter to the state government in 1997, 20th January. This letter was drafted in my presence by the then Chief Wildlife Warden, Mr. Priyo. So this is the letter. So this is
it's an archival document.
So I will share with the all concerned stakeholder also, because he elaborated all the points, because this letter was drafted in presence of me. We drafted and we took about 4 hours to draft this letter. So my point is that Loktak Hydel project, the mechanical and this economic life is already outlived this project for 35 years. So it has to be reviewed, because I'm not the authority. I cannot say it should be, but I cannot say, but some negative impact is always there in terms of ecology, in terms of the social, in the economic parameters. So it has to be reviewed. The Loktak Hydel project already been even their economic and mechanical lives already outlived, because it's commissioned 1993, so now is most completed. So I already spoken to the National Hydro Power Corporation senior official also to or as of now they also should contribute in the conservation mission. Otherwise, I will take external action. And I don't fear to write a letter to the highest authority also, to the Union government, about all this species.
Absolutely.
So now, for 3-4 months, they are a little bit not cooperating, but these after since 2 months they are now cooperating.
Very interesting, because you do bring out the point of polycentric governance, because I understand that local development authority has not much to do with the wildlife per se, but the wetland itself. But then when we talk about wetland, we are already talking about the wetland ecosystem.
Local development authority also now we reorganize.
Yes.
So
it's about working together.
Will be, yeah. So local government authority should be like ecological and community efforts to be at the forefront.
Absolutely. And you also made the point of integration.
Yeah,
you also talked about the integration.
Yeah. So local development authority as of now almost engineering oriented, which is very much not viable. So wetlands and ecological experts should be at the forefront along with the communities.
Absolutely.
A component now.
But it was very interesting to hear from you that you do talk about integration, integrated management action plan, and you are also talking about 100
one
years.
One interesting point, Loktak is having around 10,048 square kilometer catchment area. The immediate catchment area and catchment area and sub-catchment area.
Nearly 20 times, huh? Nearly 20 times the lake area.
Yeah, already been identified 78 catchment villages, with immediate catchment villages. Out of that, 48 catchment villages has been already been started the catchment area treatment plan by the local development authority with the funding from the Canadian government since 1997 to 2003. So it's a 99% success, because I personally visited 28 villages out of this 48. So another remaining 22 also, where I already spoken to the requested Honorable CM for government support. He already agreed. We're going to submit one presentation, one proposal, because all these catchment villages there. When I visited at their catchment village, I became emotional, because they are very keen. They conserve and regenerate the forest very successfully. Some of the villages are their livelihood is completely depend on their forest. So some about 7-8 villages, little bit they are challenging for livelihood. They already resolved to ban the Zoom cultivation. It's very interesting. So this much I want to submit.
Very interesting points, because I really wish to keep on continuing talking with you, but then we also must listen to our wildlife
sorry for
wildlife
taking long
expert.
time.
No, not at all. We were so eager to hear from you. Especially, I'm very excited to learn more about the 100-year plans. And also, you were rightly pointing out that without the local community's engagement, it is extremely difficult. And I think all the speakers here, and including me, we realize how difficult nowadays it is to include the local community and really motivate them to engage in ecological activities. And the very reason we have to do it, that you also mentioned the kind of waste which is coming into the inlet channels and then flowing into the Loktak is one of the key reasons, including the debris, which are also creating problems for the management of the fomeries. So, so fomeries, wetlands, lakes, all these things, and then focus on to the Sangai itself. We now bring our third speaker, Dr. Rebika Soibam Chanu, and we are very grateful that she really agreed at the very last moment to do this honor to us. Rebika is a member of Forest Service of the 2014 batch. She holds a master's degree in life sciences from Manipur University. She pursued her doctorate on the pollution status of Nambol River in Manipur and received a PG diploma in forestry from Dehradun. She has worked as Divisional Forest Officer, Soil and Water Conservation Division, and Deputy Conservator of Forests, Parks and Sanctuary. Presently, she is working as a Divisional Forest Officer of the Bishnupur Forest Division, which is where we are talking about the home of the Sangai Deer, with an additional charge as Deputy Director in the externally aided project Community-Based Sustainable Forest Management for Water Conservation in Manipur. So, Rebika, you heard both of our previous speakers, Sunita as well as Asni Kumarji, and you do hear the concerns they are raising both about the land and the water, and how the nexus of land and water really affects the diversity. So we are very keen to hear from you. Over to you, Rebika. And I know you have a slide to share, so please go ahead and share.
Thank you, Mansee. And yeah, good evening to all of you. And we already have two very interesting speakers before me, and that shared in-depth oversight of the Loktak wetland as well as the Loktak itself. Now, as the topics is, I would focus only on this Sangai deer. I have a few slides. These are mostly photographs, and these are being shared just because for many people, when you say it's a floating national park,
do you want me to share or you have it ready?
You can share it from your end also, ma'am.
Okay, I have it ready.
Yeah,
if you, do you see? Please confirm.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, let me just do the play. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we can come to the next slide.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, when we say it's a floating national park, so just floating until and unless we physically perceive how the floating is now, it is very difficult to just imagine how a floating national park is even. And I just want to share these slides, two photographs, so that we can have more insight into this one. We all know, okay, this Sangai, it is protected animal, it is protected under Schedule 1 under the Wildlife Protection Act. And it is has the same conservation status as that of a tiger. It is not less significant when we say it is a Schedule 1 animal. And along with this park by Sangai, along with hawk deer and this wild boar. This hawk deer is also an equally important animal. It is also a Schedule 1 animal as per the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. And Sangai, since it is sharing the same habitat, sharing the same space for food and shelter, in this small extent of over 40 square kilometers. So this is one challenges we would be facing in the future. Again, the interspecific species that is to be looked into. And this Sangai, this Kabulamjau National Park, we all know, is in the southeastern part of this Loktak Lake, and then this is not a continuous mass of visitation. It is interrupted. Out of the 40 square kilometers, we have around 26 square kilometers where it is the Fumdis are there, and the remaining is an open water. It is not continuous, it is not news, and very unfortunate for us, we can say. Out of this, again, 8.64 square kilometers is very much suitable as a habitat for this Sangai deer, and then 7.32 square kilometers is moderately suitable, and 6.33 square kilometers is lowly suitable. This Anna. And there has been frequent shifting of this suitable part of this from this towards the north, whereby rendering less space habitat available for this Sangai deer. From this, I am stressing more on from this because the proliferation or the sustainability of the Fumdi is equally important as the survival of the Sangai deer. So once this Fumdi is gone, this habitat is gone, then we are on the verge of losing this Sangai deer also. Sangai, so we know this is Kaibul Lamjau is the only natural habitat of this Sangai deer all over the world, and nowhere this Sangai deer is found in another natural habitat. And this deer, I'll share a brief structure of this one. One matured male deer, it has a length of about 100 to 110 centimeter and a weight of 110 kilogram. This much weight can be supported by a Fumdi of thickness minimum of 0.75 centimeter. So a thickness of less than 1 centimeter would not be able to support the body weight of a Sangai deer. And now, when we already know from my previous speakers, the condition of the lake is deteriorating, the thickness of the Fumdis are compromising, then we can see certainly how difficult the management part of this Sangai deer inside this Kaibul Lamjau National Park would be. Yet,
sorry to interrupt. Do you want me to change the slides?
Yeah, I would like to. I just wanted to share my, but it is having some difficulty.
No. Do you want me to change the slides because the slides are already on?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
No, and here you can see.
I think the fourth one will be better.
Yeah.
The fourth slide.
No. Just wait. Just wait.
Okay.
I will just share now. Now, previously this Sangai deer, it was distributed in Asia, Southeast Asian countries, extending from Myanmar, then from Manipur to Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, even to the Hanai Island in China. Now it is restricted only to this Kaibul Lamjau National Park in the wild, and it has other two subspecies. One is the Burmese brow-antlered deer, and another is the Siamese elk deer. Both of these two are found only in captive in these countries. And third one, we can proceed. Mansee, we can proceed with the third one. Yeah, this I had already stated. And here,
okay, you want to be here?
We can move. Please move. Okay. So now I'll just share a few of the problems. No, it is not a few. It is major problems we are facing with this management of this park, with the the proliferation or say this protection conservation of Sangai deer. Now we have one major issue is this encroachment inside the national park, and this encroachment is maximum is with fish ponds for aquaculture purposes. This and a few of them encroaches in the form of these religious structures. Then this encroaches we have been identifying with the revenue officials about the encroachment and all. But here, when I say encroachment, these encroachments are not intentional. I would put it like the as of now, because till now the boundary of this park is not ground rooted, and it is not fixed on the ground. So the boundaries are porous from all sides, and then is a little conscious with the neighboring villages, and we have 36 surrounding villages in and around this Kaibul Lamjau National Park. So as my producer said, with the commencing of this Ithai Forest, there has been a radical shift in the structure of the this lake. Similarly, it has also impacted the livelihood of the people. Earlier, people used to have agriculture around this lake, but now, since the water level has been maintained at a particular level, and most of this part of this lake has been denuded, including the park of this park, the people local community who initially were doing agriculture, now they have to shift. They have shifted their occupation to fishing. So in and around the periphery area, a lot of these fish farms have come up, and it is a livelihood option for them. And another thing is, since time immemorial, the people had been, this is for bona fide use, had been depending on the park area for food and fodder, then firewood, like that. Food is mainly the busy tables where we have as a customary use as a this in our community. So this is regarding this encroachment and then this illegal extraction of resources from the national park. We need to consolidate the national park and the fixed boundaries, and we had put up proposals for early fixing of these boundaries of the national park really on the ground. But again, since it is a water body and a stretch of over 40 square kilometer, it would have a huge amount to consolidate and fix that, fence all these boundaries. And again, it is up to the government, because government has to devote a huge part of the fund towards this boundary consolidation. And the department, even though we know this is a issue that has to be tackled soon, but because of the fund constraint, it is still in the discussion phase. Even water also this in the national park, the average water level is around 0.5 centimeter higher inside the park area when compared to the average water level and the Loktak Lake. As my immediate speaker has said, now this thinning of this Fumdi and all. Now, since water level has been put on a constant, and the Fumdis are floating, the water, the soil particles get loosened and then get silted out that, and this has led to thinning and then fragmentation of the Fumdis, where the habitat of the Sangai has been reduced or shrink because of this. Earlier, before this commencing of this Ithai berries, the Loktak Lake used to have a annual cyclic movement where during the lean season, the Fumdis would sink down to the bottom of the lake, then they would absorb nutrients and soil from that bottom. And then when the water level rises during the monsoon season, the Fumdis would float. And then this how they were able to nourish themselves, and then they were able to proliferate the Fumdis. And then we used to have the very thick mat that can support this Sangai Deer. But now, because of this high varies and the change in the hydrological regime of this Loktak Lake, it has very adversely affected the habitat of Sangai Deer. And we also see change in the vegetation composition of the Fumdis. Earlier, we used to have 60 to 80 shelter is to food plants ratio inside the park. Now, the shelter is to food plant ratio is shrunk to 30 is to 40, and a few of these exotic weeds have come and take over the what to say initial or previous species composition. Now this has also posed a threat because Sangai deer is by nature is a very shy animal. They need to, they are very cryptic also. Though when you see people around, they seldom come in front. They would hide between the shelter plants. So these shelter plants are equally important as the food plant. But now we have seen a change in the vegetation composition of the fungus again. And in addition to that, we can say species wise is also is being changed. Some of the species are being changed by others. Most important part is the Sangai, is a single isolated population, and there is lack of connectivity for recolonization since it is a waterlogged area. This is an isolated population, and in an isolated population, we already know how the survival of the species is threatened. This single is due to connectivity with the surrounding landscape, and we have, as per the scientific reports that have been in place with other studies, we can say we have higher chance of extinction as they are more vulnerable to inbreeding depression and then this genetic drift resulting in the stochastic variation in their gene pool and this demography. This is a very serious concern for the scientific communities when we want to conserve this Sangai deer for the generations to come again. And all this encroachment, this taking out of the illegal resources from the park area, everything now is because of the poor socio-economic conditions of the local people. The way the economy is, even though they are aware, they know this Sangai deer is our identity. It is a pride for all the Manipuris. It is an animal where we have been identified, we have been to the world because of this Sangai deer only. The people know this, they have this pride, but even then, sometimes food, basic things, it comes, and then conservation, sometimes they tend to oversee the conservation aspects in the mouth of this poor socioeconomic condition. We have a few instances of poaching previously, but now in the past 5 to 7 years, poaching incidence is almost nil. Last year, we had come across some trap being laid that also not inside the national park in an adjacent wetland area that is at a place called Lamjau. So that for the hog deer. So for hog deer, sometimes they poach it for meat, but this is not again a very big issue. Disposing is almost contained from the effort by the forest department. And not only disposing has reduced because this Sangai deer is protected by social fencing only. The 36 communities, villages that is around this Tebulong National Park have been from ancient times working as a social fence. And even though the park area is porous and all, the poaching incidence is hardly an issue here. It's some one or two incidents a few years back. On this one another instance we find is this wildfire. This wildfire, most of it is intentional, few by the chance, but intentional this burning sometimes happen. Apart from this, as a management activity, we do inside the national park have regulated burning in some places is required for the survival of the Sangai deer, because the Sangai they prefer the new shoots, so we need regular regular control burning inside the park area for effective management. And most important, this we have the shortage of staff and infrastructures as of now, and the government really needs to look into these aspects, because management, this protection is all has to be in this only with the people only, with the forest staff only, well trained, well equipped forest staffs only, and supported by the local communities, local clubs. So until and unless the staffs are responsible, they are well equipped, they are well trained, this is also a problem as opposed a threat even to the survival of this idea. We can move forward, Mansee.
May I request you to really wrap up because then we can have a short discussion, please.
Okay, and please come. What?
You're just showing the pictures
yeah,
now.
Yeah. Please scroll on. Please scroll on. I'll just say this is how the vegetation is. No, please scroll on. I'll just say. Yeah, this is the vegetation that is being taken away. This is also one of the palatable food of the Sangai deer. Please come down. Please scroll down. Please scroll down. Please scroll down. Please scroll down. Scroll down, please. Yeah,
very
interesting.
Very powerful pictures.
Yeah. This one we can do. This is how we consolidate the pumdis. We have to fix it so that we proliferate and then they become thick. And otherwise, this habitat got fragmented, spread out, and then the habitat is lost. We do fix it with locally available material, that is bamboo. We fix it with the bottom, and then we proliferate this and restore the habitat for this Sangai deer. This is how we do the management. Please roll on.
Very interesting. I visited 2-3 years ago, and I was very intrigued by these designs. Huh?
Yeah. This. No, please scroll on. These are just photographs now of what I think.
Many a time you even find that certain huts, like when you get up, your house is no more there. It just float away somewhere.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting discussion we are doing about thinning of these kumudis, because that also affects the life of the Sangai deers. Huh? I see Asni Kumar sir is talking, but he is on mute. Huh?
Yeah, this is again how we do the fire line cutting now. In case a fire broke out now, to give a break to the fire.
Yes.
Please scroll on. Now this is how we do take the weeds now out inside from the park area. Please scroll on. Please scroll on. Please scroll on, please.
But very interesting. You are actually showing how the conservation is happening with the wildlife.
Because now the park is a little different now. When I go for patrolling along midnight stop, we have to go along with a bamboo stick in our hand, is of us, because in case we swing now, the bamboo is the only part now where we would put our arm and then we would pull outside of the water. And walking inside this national park for patrolling, we need a skill in that one now. And the reason is not continuous. In some passages it is thick, the fundis are thick. In some passages it is very thin. We have to see it, and that is how the Sangai deer got its name, the dancing deer again. So inside this, on this fundi, they have to keep balancing their body to keep themselves on that fundi,
Okay.
and they just change their feet like that. So to the Lucas, then it is as if it is swaying, it is as if dancing. So that is how it is. And we also take up this vaccination programs along with Wildlife Institute of India of the Keeters in and around this Cable National Park. There are a few cases of wildlife poaching, as I had said, and the one we had taken that to the court. That was in some 2016, like that. Just a mention of that one. This is how we have been managing the national park. Okay, we can scroll on, Mansee. We can just scroll on. We can scroll on some activities on, and this is a part of the wildlife WII project. There to incorporate the local communities in the management purposes. The PRA activities was taken up, and then this matrix ranking was done to see the priorities, to see the preferences, and then accordingly the microplan were prepared, and then these were incorporated under this management plan recently submitted draft one to the department.
Bringing community together, which Asni Kumarji was also talking about.
Yes, he
Because
has been,
without them is not possible. And you
yeah,
do mention about the 36 communities which are ancient communities there who are coexisting with the deer there.
So in my conclusion, I would like to say that the Sangai inside National Park, this conservation has been an overall a success story of conservation for the wildlife because
that's good to
as
hear.
because as you know, in this historically, because why I say is because historically before 1891 the Sangai deer in the valley were protected by an order from the king, and it was protected. But when the British came, they had the draft game rules for Manipur in 1916, where the then Manipur State Darbar gives permission for shooting Sangai with a permit. And in 1934, since the Sangai population was dwindling, they put a complete ban on the issue of license in 1934. And in 1951, the Sangai deer was once declared extinct. In 1953, it was rediscovered. Some part numbers of them were rediscovered, and immediately it was declared a protected animal in 1954. And this area, it was later on reserve forest sanctuary, and then finally in 1977 it was declared a national park, and in 1989 it was declared a state animal. After that, in 1975 we had the first aerial survey census, and then 14 animals were detected, and in 1977 again an aerial survey was detected, and then in that 18 individuals were detected. And in 1993, the last aerial census was conducted with 98 these individuals. And since 1994, ground survey was done during February, March, and the latest was in 2018 with 251 Sangai presently inside this national park. So from a mere number of 5 in 1953, over this span time, we have some 251 animals inside this park as of 2018 census. And as I had put before, we had a lot of difficulties from all angles, both interspecific, intraspecific, from anthropologic activities, from the deteriorating condition of the Loktak Lake and the from this spite of all these challenges, we are able to bring this population up to this number. So we can put it as a very successful conservation story with respect to this Serbid conservation. So I will just wind up here so that we can have a lot of more interactions from members.
Thank you so much, Rebika. But you make us hopeful, to be honest, because we started with a very depressed note that there is a problem. But yes, if you look at a longer time span, we are seeing that the deer population has increased. Having said that, we cannot sit aside and be very relaxed, because in 70 years, if the number has reached 200, we have a long way to go. But an important takeaway from your talk was that it is a landlocked area. So increasing the population
is a waterlogged area.
Sorry, it is a waterlogged area, and increasing the population is already going to be challenged, especially with the species coexisting there, and with the pressure of anthropogenic activities. People want to grow, and Pumbris are already challenged about it. I mean, we are running heavily late in this session today, but a very, very interesting conversation. What I am going to do is, I don't see there are many questions in the chat box. I am going to take a quickly one round of 1 or 2 lines of last remarks from each of you to bring a closure to the discussion, because you heard each other very well. We can go on and discuss. Probably we have to discuss this at Manipur. Probably we have to talk about a place where this whole discussion of water is coming up, like a good water museum is a very good idea to talk about all these things around water. And I think Asni Kumarji can take it up further in the government discussions and political discussions as well. So I come to you, Asni Kumarji, first with a small concluding remarks from you. We will not have question and answer session. Otherwise, we will run late a lot. So a last line of remarks from you, concluding remarks from you, Asni Kumarji. Please unmute yourself. No, please unmute yourself. Asni Kumarji, unmute yourself. No, we don't hear you. Please unmute yourself.
So, today's session is very interesting, and all spoke very well. And also given a lot of insight information about the problems of national parks Sangai issue. So let me add one point, Rebika, since you are representing from the Forest Department and Wildlife. So as long as conflict between the villagers and the power authority is minimized, they are critical for our conservation mission. And already submit my this suggestion to the Professor Conservative Forest also, also. Kablanzong National Park boundary was just let me it was democratic in 1979, and then some resistance from the local community. Then it was stopped again. Then 1981, the proper demarcation has been done, and already been pillar has been erected. Might be some of the pillars might be removed. At that time, some plan was started for construction of windmills along the national park. Then midway it was abandoned. It's not completed yet. Then, anyway, so the Sangai, we should not be taken into. We should not be take easily. The population of Sangai, as per my opinion, in the last 10 years, not increasing, because now Sangai are very difficult to. Especially their boost, the thick grass is very reduced now. Very, the height also very low nowadays. It's declining day by day. So there is no place to hide by these species. That's why we can be spot very easily. But we presume that is very increasing. It's not increasing. And another challenge: overpopulation of the wild boars. So wild boar is they attack the fawns, the young deers. So So it's very dangerous then. We already raised this issue in the state board of wildlife also. So
Interestingly, we are having a
mechanism
session
should be
on
worked
wild
out,
boars. Asni Kumarji, we are going to have a session on wild boars because they are to be also discussed. We have already finalized our speakers for that.
But I just submit.
No, I'm just saying,
I don't
because
know.
it is very difficult discussion, you know, which
So there should
animals
be
should
some
be protected.
The main problem is the lack of this coordination between the stakeholder departments.
Yes, very well put.
Manipur, especially, you know, there's no coordination.
Which organization should be doing it? I mean, there has to be a coordinating organization. Then, which office in the let's say the entire machinery?
Loktak Development Authority had one screening committee earlier. It's been almost nearly 10 years, more than 10 years maybe. So we are trying to form another one, coordination committee or a interrelated department coordination committee. Otherwise, a lot of problems are creating and without unnecessarily. So even Rebika told about the demarcation of joint demarcation of the National Park with representative. At least Loktak Development Authority should be taken into, it should be also involved when the demarcation took place. That side, Loktak Development Authority is given mandate for managing the Loktak Lake and this Ungamel Park. So the Development of National Park itself is part of the Loktak Lake. Just the proper coordination, constant coordination should be there. There is very much.
I think that's the key takeaway for today, because stakeholder coordination, because each organization is doing its best, but there is required.
It should be regular meeting should be there. Yes. Regular meeting, regular interaction should be there at the different level.
I think it across the levels and across the scale, because we are also talking about reaching the community.
Yes.
And that's a very good takeaway. I will reach out to Sunita now for the final remarks to conclude the session.
We should look forward for holistic and integrated approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as a concluding, we have the government official, the policy maker, scientists, and the moderator Mansee itself as a national. I would suggest that we have for the conservation of either Loktak or Kebul Lamjau National Park, a short-term plan and a long-term plan. So in a long-term plan, long-term will be definitely, direct catchment area, conservation or more afforestation. But as a short-term plan, we can, being Sangai, a near extinct animal and a state animal of Manipur, that what can be the shortest way to conserve this animal, which won't harm the wetland or the community, because it's high time the community also know the importance of such species or species loss or biodiversity loss. And again, we have the famous Sangai festival, which itself says the momentum gain of this festival has really reached a very high position in the recent years. And again, the government is having such a big festival called the Sangai Festival of Manipur. So that itself will be, the irony if the Sangai won't be there. So as a short-term plan, but right now the government has rightfully, bring the festival to the park itself, near the park. It will be happening near the park, unlike
not near the park.
Yeah, unlike being held elsewhere. So as a concluding remark, I request the policy maker, Sir Asni ji, to kindly come with a very, very strong and conserve the Sangai. At the same time, what can be done for development and also for conservation of this Loktak wetland, short-term and long-term plan.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Sunita. Rebika, your last line for the session today. I picked one very important line from your speech when you said that Sangai deer has equal status as tiger in the country. Then what should we do to really make it known to the entire country? I can bet that 90% of this country does not know about Sangai deer, as we know about tigers and lions. So I have no competition being put for tigers, lions versus deer, But then I think you do understand the importance of people knowing about it and then people protecting it. So your last line for the deer.
Actually, the British Airways had once used this India flight to create awareness of this some idea. This, yeah, it is true. It has less recognition among the people in India. It is one reason for this was landlocked position, geographical condition of the state. Initially, we had the less connectivity with the Indian mainland because of that, and we had some insurgencies issues because of that. Less people come into this one. And another thing is, this has been a burning issues in recent times. The mainland people here had completely neglected the northeastern part and had very few knowledge of that one. So when that information is still lacking about the people, culture, and all, then wild animals comes next to that. So in the years to come, I hope people will know more on this and people will take a proactive role, that the contribution towards conservation of these animals in this one. And as Asni Kumarji had said, this public participation, this coordination or holistic approach of the stakeholders is equally important. We have been cooperating that part as a major trust in our management plan for the next 10 years that would run this national park. So these are very much in this part. And then we need to aware the stakeholders as well about the provisions acts in this wildlife protection act, the do's and don'ts, where they can how they can contribute as per the provisions of this act. This is also very much required when we have to go for the holistic approach of this one, because sometimes we can see enforcement with the revenue officials. To set out to the issues of this one now, we have to have just holistic approach as well as understanding of the prevailing acts and rules of both the revenue, the LDA or the this Forest Wildlife Protection Act. Anything we need more interaction, we need more awareness, and then just our equal contribution towards conserving this Loktak, Sangai Deer, and the overall these resources, natural resources of the state. With this, I want to give my concluding remark.
Thank you so much. And in fact, protect ourselves, because we will not be there if there is no water and no wildlife.
Yes.
So that also reminds me a very interesting line from my mentor, Nobel laureate Professor Elinor Ostrom, when she talks about bringing people along. So you are already talking about holistic, but you also make an important remark on increasing the understanding of the people towards these kind of issues, ecosystem, wildlife, wetlands. We need to improve our understanding, because half-cooked understanding is actually a bigger problem in solving the problems, and it creates more problems. Anyway, thank you so much, all three of you. We continue our water conversations towards water conservation, as we have been doing for more than 1 year now, through now Monday Munchings with Women for Water, Wednesdays for Water, which are hard talks on scientific issues and real life issues. And we have soft sessions on Friday Waters. So this Friday, September 9th, we will be having a book reading session on marine pollution. And we talk today about it as well, how much of the anthropogenic pollution is getting into the wetland. We have marine pollution, what everyone needs to know, written by Judith Weiss. She will be live with us at 5 p.m. Next Wednesday, that is September 14th. We have geopolitics of water, and that is also at 5 p.m. So all our sessions are at 5 p.m. We look forward to having you again and again, and making Wednesdays for Water, Friday Waters, as well as Monday Munching very meaningful water conversations. Please look at our social media accounts, and also you can get the updates from our website, www.w4w.in. And once again, I take this opportunity to thank Sunita, Asni Kumarji, and Rebika for their wonderful discussion and in-depth understanding of the subject and enlightening rest of the India about the subject. Thank you so much. Please take care and bye-bye.